Another little item before we get to the horror of the United States destroying yet another country. Trump was being interviewed this week and on Twitter on Friday morning, this morning. Well, he wasn't being interviewed, but he said something in the interview, and he said it again on Twitter this morning. Again, this Trump fucker suggests criminal action against American journalists. And Anita Kumar is suggesting a cocktail party for this bitch, rotten mouth press secretary? The Orange Pig had a sit-down interview with Time magazine. And Trump had with him, and he showed the reporters conducting the interview, a letter from North Korea's Kim Jong-un. When a photographer tried to snap a photograph of the letter, Sarah Uber Christian Sanders told him he couldn't. Trump is showing it, but the reporter couldn't take a picture. Later in the interview, the subject under discussion turned to Robert Mueller's report on Russian interference in the 2016 campaign. And a reporter asked about sworn testimony that Trump tried to limit the investigation to only future election interference. Rather than answer the question, Trump lashed out about the photographer's attempt, it's an old trick, to take a picture of the letter from Kim, according to a transcript of the interview that Time released last night. Trump started out by saying, quote, "Well, you can go to prison." He's saying this to the photographer. "You can go to prison instead, because if you use the photograph you took of the letter I gave you." When the Time reporter interrupted to continue his line of questioning, Trump went on, "If you try to take that letter confidentially, I wouldn't give it to you. You take a photograph of it, so don't play that game with me." The reporter said, "I'm sorry, Mr. President. Were you just threatening me with prison time?" Trump didn't answer directly, but launched into a rant about Time magazine's unfavorable coverage of him. Trump said this, quote, "So go have fun with your story, because I'm sure it will be the 28th horrible story I have in Time magazine, because it's incredible. With all I've done and all the success I've had, the way that Time magazine writes is absolutely incredible." End quote. I have an almost 15-year-old daughter. She has a lot of 14 and 15-year-old friends. I don't hear these hysterical teenagers talking this way. Trump has been so enamored of his appearance in the national publication Time because that he had a fake Time cover. Talk about fake news. Remember, he had that fake Time cover with his portrait and the headline, "Donald Trump, the Apprentice is a television smash." He had it framed and hung in one of his golf clubs. Meanwhile, retired Navy Admiral William McRaven, the commander of the raid that nailed bin Laden, continues to criticize this orange fucker. McRaven, at a speech at University of Texas in Austin, called Trump's denunciation of the media a threat to democracy. You remember that. But let me go back. On Friday, today, Trump also weighed in on an email between a New York Times reporter and the director of the FBI's Office of Public Affairs that was obtained by these crazy, sick little fuckers at Judicial Watch. It's a right-wing conspiratorial organization, I believe based somewhere in Florida, of course. In the email that Judicial Watch got, the reporter writes that his colleagues had learned in their reporting on the Russia investigation that the FBI was scrutinizing Jared Kushner, the little apostate Jew who is Trump's son-in-law. The FBI was scrutinizing Kushner's meetings with the Russians. Trump tweeted this, just revealed, because of what Judicial Watch put out, just revealed that the failing and desperate New York Times was feeding false stories about me and those associated with me to the FBI. This shows the kind of unprecedented hatred I have been putting up with for years with this crooked newspaper. Is what they have done legal? He always puts those little dumb fuck questions in his tweets, right? Judicial Watch now claims that the email where one reporter says to another, hey, I've learned that the FBI is taking a look at Trump's son-in-law and advisor because of his association with Russia. Judicial Watch claims that that is evidence of FBI media collusion. Emailing an agency spokesman, FBI, a reporter emailing a spokesman for the FBI to verify new information that was gotten through reporting is a foundational example of journalistic practice. But to these fuckers at Judicial Watch, collusion! Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to The Ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.